How's it going, guys? It's been a day since I filmed the video yesterday where I kind of walked you through the Ventrac, and I was using it. I'd say I probably used it for about 3 hours yesterday, and then I did go online and read the manuals and watch some videos about it as well. So I'm farther along in my Ventrac experience, but I've still got a way to go. So this is, I'd still be definitely the new guy if I was at a company that used Ventracs regularly. I figure the way I'll start this video is just kind of going over the highs and the lows of the day about the machine. And we'll start with the highs. And I want to say that the first high point and the most amazing thing was last night. I was out about 9 o'clock at night. We got 10.5 inches of snow last night. And it was 9 o'clock, it was 24 degrees. And I literally, I was wearing the same thing as I'm wearing now, same sweatshirt. I have an insulated shirt on, but I literally had to turn the heat down in the cab because it was getting too hot in the cab. And I think that's truly a wonderful thing. So kudos, because I got to live the dream with the heated cab. You know, and earlier in the day I took my dog for a walk around the neighborhood, and I've been so used to being out in the storm with the cab that I kind of forgot what the feeling of the snow whipping in your face was, and big difference with the cab. I can see if you're doing, you know, sidewalks in municipalities, condominiums, this thing would be awesome for the sidewalk crew, and you would easily replace, I don't know, 5, 8 guys with this one machine as your sidewalk crew. It is that amazing to power through the snow, and it's so narrow, you know, I think this blower is 42, but don't quote me on that, but it's narrow enough that you can do sidewalks, and it's powerful enough it can do the deep snow. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. And the other high point last night was also with the snowblower, and I guess the high point seemed to be coming later in the day as I was getting more familiar with the machine. But there was one point where I was going through, I threw the snow, and then I went through the snow I had already thrown once, so it was the equivalent of about 20 inches of snow, if not more. And I was using the blower, and the kubota never lugged like the whole day. And at one point when I was going through what would be the equivalent of about 20 inches of snow, you could hear the kubota. It wasn't like lugging like it couldn't do it. It was like in the sweet zone where all that torque could really do what it wanted to do. And it was just so awesome to just kind of ease through that snow and listen to the kubota, you know, right where it wanted to be, chewing away. That was pretty amazing. And then the final, you know, the other cool thing is I've never used a rotary broom before, and I gotta say the rotary broom is pretty awesome for clearing snow. I mean, you just hit it with that broom and it takes it right down to bare pavement, and I'm assuming that broom would also chew through ice. It's actually gotten to the point where I kind of wonder if I was using the machine and I had a snowblower, if I would do a snowblower and a snow blade, or a snowblower and a rotary broom, because that broom, you know, when you get those dustings, you could just sweep it off in the morning and you wouldn't leave much there for the sun to melt away. That broom is pretty awesome. So those are my overall high points of the day. And now I just want to discuss a few things that I have had issue with, troubles I've had, and I think all the stuff I'm going to talk about in this part of the segment is more just stuff that a new user experiences. You know, back in the day I had an Aaron's 1236 snowblower, and I'll never forget the first day I was out with that thing at like 6 in the morning. I hit a newspaper. It was like 15 degrees out. There was like 1.5 feet of snow on the ground, and I broke my first shear pin. And I took the thing back to my shop to fix the shear pin because I'd never done it before. And it took me like an hour to find the shear pin and put it back in and get the machine going. And it felt like such a huge deal, but once I learned how to do it, I would have just, you know, ever since that day, I kept some shear pins in the truck. If you hit something, you punch the shear pin out, put it back in, and you're good to go. So the things I'm going to mention here, I don't want to be hard on the machine, but these are just, as a new user, these are things I've experienced. The first thing I've noticed about the machine, and I'm still getting used to the controls, this SDLA lever, speed, direction, and then you've got one lever for your attachment up and down, and one lever that rotates the snowblower left and right. So I've kind of got that down as far as which way things go. The one problem I've still been having is when you're using your attachments, you're supposed to put the SDLA lever in detent. Most I know the Bobcat has a detent and my Dingo has a detent as well, which what that does is if you have something that lifts, it just makes it like go to the ground. It's not locked, it floats. Detent or float, so it floats. So when you're using the attachments, what you want to do is lock it in the float position. I've been having a hard time, and I think it's, again, just I'm a new user, with that detent valve to kind of, you push it to the right kind of hard, and it locks in the float position or detent position, and your attachment floats. And I've been having a hard time, when I used the broom yesterday, there must have been 5 different times, when I thought I had it in detent, but I didn't. And then you'd put the broom down and it kind of like the whole machine would be pushed because you got so much torque there. And it's something that, you know, like, so it's the second day, and I bet you if I do it once, it'll be much, but it was, getting used to this detent is taking me some time. And I suspect also that because the machine's so new, the valve has a little wear, it's got to break in a bit and things are tight. So I'm assuming as time goes by, it'll go in a little bit easier. Second thing I noticed, which would also definitely be a new user thing, is attaching the implements. I find the hoses are incredibly easy to attach. Once you get the thing attached, it's all downhill. For me, it was a little bit tricky. Again, new user, first time, getting things hooked up. I went to the Ventrac website, I watched a video on it, and the video helped a lot. But I think the only thing that's going to really help with attaching implements is to practice. And what happens is there's some bars on the machine, and you kind of line up this one bar, and you kind of slide in, and you make sure it's parallel, and then you lift up. And once you've got it, which I got it, it's funny, it's like either you don't have it or you have it. So with the broom, I did like 5 tries, I couldn't get it, and then I got out of the cab and looked, and it was so obvious what I needed to do. So I would say that for new users, you just got to kind of get out of the cab or get off the seat and check the alignment. And you kind of, I know as time goes by, I'm going to learn just where these bars should be so when I hook things up. But just, you know, I think back to that story about the Aaron's 1236. If I was a new user at a condo and my boss dumped me off and I'm not used to equipment, and my boss said, you know, go do this and switch attachments if you need to, you know, I would definitely make sure to practice moving attachments on and off for a while on a warm, dry place before you go out and do it, you know, in the heat of the moment. Final thing was when I hooked up the Snowblower last night, and yet again, I think this is all just new user stuff. Once I got things lined up, it was like, that's so easy. But what I did have trouble with was I had the machine at an idle, and I went to lift the blower up, and it just made like a growly sound, and I was kind of dumbfounded as what I could be doing wrong, because I noticed everything was hooked up right, and the hoses were hooked up right, not that they would make a difference anyways. And so it wasn't until I actually gave the machine some gas and lifted up or some diesel, some fuel, and lifted up that it made a difference. And there's, I think, 2, possibly 3 contributing factors to that. Is first off, maybe you just need to, you know, give it some fuel to have the hydraulic flow to lift this. This thing weighs like 400 pounds or so. I think this is one of their heavier attachments. The second thing is there's a spring assist on a lot of these attachments, which you set at 0 when you hook them up, or when you take them off, one of those 2. So I did, later in the night, I did move that spring so it takes as much weight as possible off the implement when it's being lifted. And then the final thing, and I really suspect this is what it was I did check my hydraulic fluid because the sound it was making was like, when you change the filter in something hydraulic and then you run it for the first few minutes, it makes like this growly sound because there's a little bit of air in the lines. And I checked the tank, and the machine does need a little bit of hydraulic fluid, and I'll take you back and show you that. And I think, you know, I have a dealer about 15 minutes away. I'll go tomorrow, I'll get some hydraulic fluid, and things should be fine. But that's the initial reactions, and it's, you know, I think everything I'm experiencing is what every new user experiences, so maybe this video will help new users to kind of be prepared. We're at the back of the machine now, and I took out, there's a cover that goes in the back, which I took out. So if we slide the door open and look at the machine, so here we are, we're on the right side of the cab, moving back, and there's our radiator, and there's our Kubota diesel. And if we look down right, see if I can get this into view for you guys. If you look down right over here, you see not this piece of white that's closer, but the one farther away. That's the hydraulic expansion tank. So there's a high and a low mark on the tank, and if you hold a flashlight next to it, you can kind of see the level of it. And it's below the low point, so I need to go out and get some more hydraulic fluid. I was on the Ventrac website last night doing some research, and they said if you're hooking up a new attachment for the first time, they tend not to have a lot of fluid in them, so it'll drain your hydraulic tank. So with the broom and the snowblower, I'm sure that's just what happened, is it got drained a bit. But what I did is I just took a socket, and you can sneak it in there and get there's a plastic cap on it, and you can open the tank, and with a long funnel you could very easily top off that tank. So that's going to do it for this video, and I think we're going to call it Highs and Lows of Ventrac First Day or something to that effect. I'm looking forward to using the machine some more. You know, if only I could keep the machine for more time. And get a chance to run it through some more of its paces and get more comfortable with it. That would be nice. I'm trying to wink. This is me trying to wink, and hopefully somebody watching this video will know who I'm winking at. But loving the machine, and I think what we're going to do now is we're just going to have some fun and make some videos of using the machine and hooking up the implements, and less talking and more doing. Thanks for watching, folks, and have a great day.